I wanted to discuss today the power of knowing yourself. So my name is Odette. I'm a coach. I work with people who need alignment, who are going through the awakening process. And I'm also a hypnotherapist, a somatic body practitioner, an emotional detox tantric practitioner. And I'm also a poet and a visual artist. So thank you so much for checking out my channel. I wanted to discuss today um, what does it mean to spiritually awaken. So when we are children, we become conscious of ourselves and we become aware that we have parents and we have a name and that we are not our parents and that we have a body, our own body. So when we become self-aware as we grow up, we become conscious of the world, politics, that there's society around us, that we have a system of categorizing everything. And as we grow older, we become conscious that there's religion, politics, and all these different systems. And as we evolve in our maturing, we become self-aware and self-conscious. And this process, when we get to spiritually become self-aware and awaken, we bring portions of our past stories and distortions with us. And the idea of becoming self-aware in a conscious level is to become aware that we are also part of the universe, that we are not just, people from one country on earth, that we are part of a bigger scheme, a system of life, and that there's other planets and so forth. But then there's also the spiritual side, the metaphysical side. And this is the aspect where we become aware that we embody in our DNA aspects of our ancestors. And I wanted to talk about that because in my own personal awakening journey, this experience started from childhood, and I had to hide this level of awareness that I had of metaphysics, the spiritual world, to be able to be around the people that I loved, because I knew that once I told them my own self-awareness journey, my own spiritual journey, that I would be shocking their belief system. So a lot of people encounter this. And this is why we often, when I meet clients that are struggling with their awakening journey or Kundalini awakening experience, they find that they go through processes of, initially just starting to heal, practicing meditation, to deal with the effects of that experience, of integrating the experience of becoming developing a deeper sense of self-awareness. So and there's also the shock of having to be visible, having to tell people what your inner experience, your inner world has been noticing, the acknowledgement that there's an inner world, and fear of being classified as, as anything other than human, that maybe there's something wrong with you. There isn't anything wrong with you. But it's a really painful process. It's the same thing as we all have trauma, emotional trauma. And as we start peeling the layers of trauma, there's aspects of ourselves that we have to integrate. And, we tend to rationalize this so we can kind of navigate through reality. So there's different modalities we can try to experience in our own self-healing journey. And this often creates shocks with what other people's versions of realities are. So in the family grouping, often this can cause shocks because we all have different personalities, and our children may not have the same belief system that other relatives have, and to have that aspect of themselves exposed in their community, in their families, can be a really frightening experience, because not only are they going through that inner experience that is private, that is they kept secret, and then they have to expose it to their relatives, to the world, and that shocks other people's reality. So there is a sense of rejection that happens when you tap into a sense of beingness or experiencing reality that is not similar to what the family group and the peer group that one is paired with. And I wanted to discuss that, how difficult it is. So in my own journey, I decided to hide that aspect of me. I would share small things, but I would notice the reactions that I was receiving. So I decided to make friendships in other groups. And even in those groups, I didn't feel comfortable to really be myself, because there's judgment that occurs, and especially when we challenge each other's belief systems, it's very triggering, because we're all having collective experience and it's an individual experience. So if you ever watch The Matrix and then you realize that you're Neo, and you go and tell everyone that you've become awakened and that you're going through a Kundalini experience when they have no reference to what those terms mean, this can be a very shattering experience for the person sharing their individual experience, and for the other receiver who has no notions of those concepts, and it can shake their belief system and their sense of reality. So it's kind of it creates a cognitive dissonance for the person that is already in a explorative state of finding out who they are and what those inner experiences all mean and what it connects to the nature of reality. So I've observed in my journey that I've studied so many different modalities, and I explored theology, theosophy, different forms of healing that were embraced by the West and the medical institutions, and others that weren't. So it came to a point that even though I wanted to wear those masks and to be able to fit in, so I wouldn't have so much retaliations from my peers, I wanted to open a point of sharing what I've been exploring, and also being able to support people who are experiencing the same. So, and I have to say that I love to do this from a creative point of view, because I believe that we all have our own individual experiences, and I don't want to negate anyone's experience. And I also want to make this space a fluid space, in the sense that I don't intend to trigger anyone. We are all on our journey of our own realities consciously, which is, mainly just to go to work, have fun with our peers, and connecting and having wonderful experiences whenever we can. And it's not my intention to trigger anyone or to offend anyone. And there is a dissonance between that, because we're all in different levels of development and self-awareness. So I hope that if you're exploring who you are, that this space that I'm creating with you is a safe place that you can practice self-inquiry, explore some topics, and not take anything personally, because none of this content is designed to trigger you or to hurt you. And if you are triggered by anything I say, just remember that there are tools that I can share that can help you process your emotions, because our emotions are really important, and we have to learn how to manage them. And I also get triggered just by being here. I don't really like being in front of the camera, and I considered not doing this, but I've been having I've been having this experience of becoming fully awakened and not being able to suppress it anymore. And yeah, and it's something I wanted to explore with everyone, to connect with people that are experiencing it, and to create a space, a safe place that we can explore ourselves. And I can share some of the steps that led me here if people are looking to get to this space. I believe we all arrive there in different levels. So, for example, if you heal your pain body, your emotional body, so there's different layers, and the more we release from trauma and addictions, whether it is to food or to watching too much TV, and the more we go within, we can start tapping into certain levels of awareness and consciousness, so once we deepen and familiarize ourselves with those levels, we're able to tap into different levels of self, and become self-aware that we have even a self inside this human sack of bones, meat and bones. So to become conscious, sorry, one has to realize that there are all these systems that we have going on within ourselves, and to be able to master the lower aspect of our animalistic aspect. So I would make a reference to the lower chakras, and then there's the upper chakras. So we have to be able to balance those two and be able to navigate those lower chakras and the densities within that. And I thought about making different posts about different terms that I use, or and what they mean to me, and how I arrived to this space. Often awakening happens, what I would call all the different levels of awakening that I've experienced. They have been caused through some sort of I wouldn't say trauma, but a friction of different events. For example, this last one that was more permeating to my being, I knew I was awakened, but I was kind of hiding it. I wasn't ready to own it. So I kind of really pushed it really down. So I kept it locked, the sense of awakenedness, if I could put it that way. And it's mostly due to the fact that because we're all so different and we have such different belief systems, but when you practice seeking the truth and speaking the truth, it doesn't matter what, like, let's say if you believe in Buddha or if I believe in Christ, it doesn't matter, because the truth is the truth. So the truth will set you free. So it's not about having the right religion, but it's about really having the right processing system to arrive where you need to arrive. And for that matter, we need to kind of master certain emotions and behaviors that stem from trauma, from the animalistic aspect. It doesn't mean you have to be a monk or, just become vegetarian. But it's important to have a level of self-restraint and self-mastery, so you don't get in and out of, you don't get stuck in a loop of in and out of consciousness states. Yeah, so I thought I'd open this channel to share a bit of poetry and art and exploration of these states that I was describing. So I will be creating more content as I go forth, and sharing some things I've written in the past that really mean something to me. And I hope you can join me in the journey and accept the space that I'm creating, that is a safe place. I'm not interested in kind of like friction with people, creating friction with people or hurting anyone. But if you don't feel safe and you want to book a session with me so we can deal with what's happening with you, that's fine. I wanted to really create a space where people feel supported to explore themselves or to have reflections. and support each other through the journey of awakening if you are on that journey. And if you're not, you're not, that's fine. You can enjoy the poetry or just some interesting content that I share if it resonates with you. If you don't agree with it, you don't even have to comment. You can just leave just like that and look for what makes you happy. So I look forward to connecting more.